The year my family almost fell apart was the year I met Leo. My father's business was on the brink of collapse, drowning in debt. Our house, which used to be filled with laughter, became hollow and tense. That's when Leo started coming over. He wasn't a relative and not quite a friend either. He was the son of my father's longtime business partner. He was tall, quiet, and always dressed in neat, dark clothes. He was the kind of man who spoke very little but seemed to notice everything. At first, I thought he was cold. He rarely smiled and never spoke unless someone spoke to him first. But I started noticing something strange. Whenever he came over, he would always leave a cup of warm tea beside me. Never for my father, never for my mother. Always for me. I told myself it was nothing, just a kind gesture. It had to mean nothing. After all, Leo was engaged. He was engaged to my cousin Lily. I was 20 when I finally admitted to myself that I was in love with him. It happened late one night, during a bad storm. The power went out, plunging the entire house into pitch blackness. I've always been scared of the dark, something I hated admitting even to myself. Before I could even think to call out for someone, Leo was there. He handed me a flashlight, and his fingers brushed against mine for just a second too long. In the darkness, his voice was soft. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I'm here." And that was it. That was the moment my world shifted. From then on, I noticed everything. I saw the way he would slow his pace when I was lagging behind. The way he once shielded me from a sudden downpour with his own jacket, getting soaked himself. And the way he looked at me sometimes, like he was holding back 1,000 words, but never let a single one escape, and I never asked. How could I? He belonged to someone else. My cousin Lily was beautiful and confident. Everything I felt I wasn't. Their engagement was officially announced at a grand family dinner. The room was decorated in auspicious red, filled with loud laughter and celebratory toasts. Leo sat directly across the table from me. For a brief moment, our eyes met. I saw a flicker of something unreadable in his gaze before he looked away first. That night, I cried silently into my pillow, muffling the sound so no one would hear. I told myself this was how it was supposed to be. In my family, duty and responsibility always came before personal feelings. And I was just collateral damage in a story that wasn't mine. The wedding was scheduled for early spring. Just 2 weeks before the date, Leo found me alone in the courtyard. The lanterns cast long dancing shadows around us. "You're leaving," he said. It wasn't a question, it was a statement. I nodded, my gaze fixed on a stone at my feet. "I got accepted to a university overseas," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's better this way." The flickering lantern light played across his face, and for the first time, I saw his calm composure crack. "Do you love me?" he asked, his voice low and urgent. My heart stopped. I should have lied. It would have been a sensible thing to do. But after loving him in silence for so long, I didn't have the strength. "Yes," the word escaped me, broken and small. He stepped closer, so close I could feel the warmth radiating from him, feel his breath on my skin. "I loved you first," he whispered, his voice thick with a regret that mirrored my own. But I was too late. Tears I didn't know I was holding back began to slide down my face. He reached out, as if to wipe them away, but then his hand dropped. He took a step back, creating a chasm between us once more. "I hope," he said, each word chosen carefully, "in another life, I choose you." I left without saying goodbye to him. Years passed. I built a new life for myself far away from home. New city, new friends, a new name, a new everything. I buried the past and the girl who loved a man she couldn't have. Then one evening, my phone lit up with a message from a number I hadn't seen in years. It was from Leo. The message was short, only 4 words. "I never married her." My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. The past came rushing back, not as a painful memory, but as a question. After a long pause, I typed back a simple question. "Are you happy?" The 3 dots appeared and disappeared. Then his reply came through. I've been waiting. A few years after that exchange, I flew back to China in the early autumn. The city hadn't changed much. The streets were still crowded, the air still hung with a warm haze. But my heart felt different. It was lighter, yet terrified and hopeful all at once. Leo was waiting for me at the old tea house near my childhood home. When he saw me walk in, he stood up, just like he always used to. He was still tall, still calm, and still the man I had never not for one day stopped loving. "You came," he said, a simple statement that held years of waiting. "I said I would," I replied, my voice steadier than I expected. We sat across from each other. The silence between us was heavy, but it was no longer painful. It was filled with everything we couldn't say back then. "I broke off the engagement a long time ago," he said quietly, looking directly at me. "I thought choosing duty, being a good son, was the right thing to do. But instead of making me a better person, it just made me lose myself." I looked down at my hands clasped tightly on the table. "I left because I was afraid," I confessed. "I was afraid that if I stayed, I would never stop loving you." This time, when he reached across the table, he didn't pull away. His hand covered mine, warm and sure. "I don't want another life," he said, his voice firm. "I want this one. With you." My eyes burned with unshed tears. What if it's too late? I whispered, the old fear creeping back in. He smiled. It wasn't the polite, distant smile I remembered. This one was soft and real, and it was just for me. "Then we'll be late together." We walked out of the tea house side by side. There were no family expectations hanging over us, no unspoken rules, no silent, heartbreaking promises. There was only a love that had somehow survived distance, time, and a mountain of regret. As his fingers intertwined with mine, a feeling of peace settled over me for the first time in years, and I finally understood. Some love stories don't need a perfect beginning. They just need the courage to choose each other at the end. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories like this one. See you next time.